Okay, so for the current event slash creative art assignment, I chose to go with Turning Tables by Adele. I think that the song is very good and it touches on communication, which is basically what the whole class is about, communication. So I'm just gonna play the song for a little bit. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but just a little bit. Close enough to start a war. All that I have is on the floor. God only knows what we're fighting for. All that I say, you always say more. I can't keep up with your turning tables under your thumb. I can't breathe. So I won't let you close enough to hurt me. No, I won't let you to just desert me. I can't give you all you think you gave me. It's time to say goodbye to turning tables. Okay, now I'm gonna fast forward to the end because I mainly talk about the beginning of the song and like the end of the song. It's just kind of like the difference between the two. Um, yeah, because the song's like 4 minutes, so I didn't want to play the whole song. On my own two feet. Okay, so I chose that song because, like I said, it has a lot to do with like communications. So the song is Turning Tables, and it just basically talks about like the defensiveness that goes on within this relationship and the criticism, and it has like a lot of metaphors thrown in there. So to begin, I'm going to talk about the, let's pull this to the side. My apologies. In the song, she says, she starts off with the lyrics, close enough to start a war. All that I have is on the floor. So that just goes to show that how they have been arguing, and clearly it's not going too good if all of her stuff is on the floor. They're in some type of conflict. Um, and then she goes on to say, under your thumb, I can't breathe." Which, like I said, there's a lot of metaphors thrown in there. So sometimes, when there are metaphors and similes and all that good stuff, you are able to kind of infer. You can't really say exactly what the writer was trying to say unless they give you a clear understanding of it. And she kind of does, like she kind of hints at it, but not really. So this is kind of like my personal opinion. So this is me just inferring. But when she says under your thumb, I can't breathe. Um, it just kind of to me shows how the aggressor in this situation is using verbal and nonverbal messages that are kind of belittling to Adele, to where she feels like she can't breathe. She feels kind of like trapped and stuck in this relationship. She can't breathe anymore. She feels like somebody's thumb is pressed on her to where she can't breathe anymore. Um, but then, like towards the end of the song, you see this switch in the lyrics, and you also hear like a switch in the way that she projects her voice. She kind of goes from like a kind of like a low to like a more like powerful, like, hey, I have my voice back, I'm here, and I'm ready to present myself kind of attitude. Um, and she has this new like commitment, this new passion of self love, and she talks about how she got herself, like if nobody has her, she has her. She'll be her own savior. Um, and that next time she'll be braver if she's ever presented with an opportunity like this. Um, so yeah, to continue. Sorry, my dog is crying. I just flew in from out of town, so he hasn't seen me in a week. So to continue, um, I felt that it was important to talk about this situation only because we did discuss this in chapter 8. In chapter 8, the what really made me go more towards this was the scene, the breakup, and from the breakup, they did a lot of like attacking each other. Like it was more of like a every time one person said one thing, the other person said something to kind of not necessarily degrade, but to kind of like one up the next person. Like in the breakup, they, for example, it will be something as simple as, "Oh, you left the door unlocked," and then the other person will be like, "Oh, well, let's not forget when you left the door open," something like that, something to try and one up. And that's what I kind of think of when I think of the song "Turning Tables." You know, it's kind of like a going back and forth type situation. So, yes, thank you.